One moment the spotlight is shining, the applause is deafening, and the performance feels immortal. Then suddenly, tragedy strikes before a stunned audience. Hollywood has witnessed stars collapse mid-song, actors fall lifeless during rehearsals, and even rising legends cut down in front of the cameras. These were moments when entertainment turned into horror, leaving fans forever haunted by the chilling reality of 13 performers who died live on stage. Which of these moments do you remember most? Number 1. Brandon Lee. The set of The Crow turned into one of Hollywood's darkest tragedies on the 31st of March 1993. A prop gun, meant to fire harmlessly, carried a fragment of a real bullet. When it discharged, Brandon Lee was struck in the abdomen. He collapsed on the studio floor, rushed to the hospital, but never regained consciousness. At only 28, his life ended in a way more shocking than any scripted scene. The son of martial arts icon Bruce Lee, Brandon was determined to escape his father's shadow and build his own legacy. He had already shown his potential in Showdown in Little Tokyo and Rapid Fire, films that displayed his blend of action skill and emotional intensity. With The Crow, he was on the verge of stardom, ready to step into the spotlight as a leading man. The film itself carried eerie symbolism. Brandon's role was that of a man brought back from the dead to seek vengeance. When production resumed after his death, body doubles and special effects were used to finish the film, making every scene he had already completed feel like a ghostly farewell. When audiences finally saw it in 1994, the movie became a cult classic, but also a heartbreaking reminder of a talent stolen too soon. The aftermath of his death shook Hollywood. Investigations exposed flaws in prop safety, forcing studios to tighten regulations around firearms on set. Yet the shadow of tragedy lingered, with many drawing unsettling parallels to Bruce Lee's sudden and mysterious death in 1973. Talk of a family curse spread through tabloids and fan circles, deepening the mystique surrounding both father and son. Brandon Lee's story remains one of the most haunting in Hollywood history. His final performance is celebrated for its intensity and artistry, a glimpse of what he might have achieved had fate not intervened. To this day, his name is spoken with reverence, not only as Bruce Lee's son, but as a rising star who left behind a legacy forged in brilliance and tragedy. Number 2. Owen Hart. The world of professional wrestling fell into stunned silence on the 23rd of May 1999 during the WWF pay-per-view event Over the Edge in Kansas City. Owen Hart, performing under his Blue Blazer persona, was set to make a dramatic entrance from the rafters. The stunt involved him being lowered into the ring by a harness and cable system. Seconds before the crowd expected to cheer, a mechanical failure caused him to plummet nearly 80 feet. He struck the ropes and landed in the ring before a horrified live audience. Medical staff rushed to his side, but the fall proved fatal. He was only 34 years old. Owen came from Canada's legendary Hart wrestling family, one of the most respected dynasties in the sport. Known for his athletic ability, technical skill, and charismatic personality, he built a reputation as one of the most gifted performers of his generation. Fans admired his ability to blend high-flying maneuvers with sharp wit, making him both a crowd favorite and a respected competitor among his peers. The tragedy unfolded before millions watching on live television and thousands in the arena. For several moments, many believed it was part of the scripted entertainment, only to realize the devastating reality as paramedics fought to revive him. Despite immediate efforts, Owen was pronounced dead shortly after at a nearby hospital. His death sent shockwaves throughout the wrestling world. Fellow wrestlers and fans alike mourned the loss of a man whose career was still on the rise. Legal battles followed, as Owen's widow filed a lawsuit against the wrestling organization, eventually reaching a settlement that highlighted the need for stricter safety measures during live performances. The legacy of Owen Hart endures far beyond the ring. Remembered as a devoted family man and a natural entertainer, his life and tragic end continue to symbolize the risks that performers take in pursuit of spectacle. For fans, the memory of that night remains one of the darkest in wrestling and Hollywood-adjacent entertainment, a chilling reminder of how quickly a career and a life can be cut short under the brightest lights. Number 3. Red Fox. On the 11th of October 1991, the set of the CBS sitcom The Royal Family became the scene of a real-life tragedy. During a rehearsal, Red Fox suddenly collapsed in front of cast and crew. At first, many thought it was part of his act, since Fox was famous for staging mock heart attacks in his classic role on Sanford and Son. The laughter quickly faded when he failed to rise. Crew members rushed to help, but Fox had suffered a massive heart attack. He was transported to Queen of Angels, Hollywood Presbyterian Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead at the age of 68. Born John Elroy Sanford in St. Louis in 1922, Fox had carved out an extraordinary career in comedy. Known as the King of the Party Records, he recorded dozens of raunchy, groundbreaking albums in the 1,950 seconds and 1,960 seconds that influenced an entire generation of stand-up comedians. His humor was raw, sharp, and unapologetic, making him a pioneer who pushed the boundaries of what could be said on stage. Television brought him his greatest fame. In 1972, Fox debuted as Fred Sanford on NBC's Sanford and Son, a show that quickly became one of the most beloved sitcoms of the decade. With his exaggerated walk, biting insults and catchphrase, "You big dummy," Fox created a character that remains iconic in American culture. His comedic timing and chemistry with co-star Demon Wilson defined the series and made him a household name. By the late 1,980 seconds and early 1,990 seconds, Fox's career had slowed, but he was making a comeback with the royal family. The show, co-starring Della Reese, was intended to reintroduce him to a new generation of television audiences. The irony was inescapable. The man who had once turned fake heart attacks into comedy died of a real one while rehearsing for a new sitcom. The suddenness of his death shocked fans and colleagues. Tributes poured in from across Hollywood and the comedy world, remembering him as a trailblazer who transformed American humor. Red Fox's passing under the studio lights symbolized both the fragility of life and the enduring brilliance of a man who made millions laugh. Number 4. John Eric Hexum. On the 12th of October 1984, tragedy struck on the set of the CBS television series Cover Up. During a break in filming, John Eric Hexum picked up a prop revolver loaded with blanks. In a moment of reckless joking, he held it to his temple and pulled the trigger. The force of the blank cartridge drove a fragment of his skull into his brain. Crew members rushed to his side, but he slipped into a coma and was declared brain dead days later. At only 26, his career ended in the most shocking way possible. Hexum was a rising talent in Hollywood. With striking looks and a charismatic presence, he had already starred in the television series Voyagers and was being groomed as a potential leading man. Casting directors saw him as a versatile actor who could transition between action roles and more dramatic parts. His breakthrough role in Cover Up was meant to cement his place in primetime television. The loss was devastating, not just for his family and fans, but for colleagues who had witnessed the accident firsthand. Production on Cover Up was temporarily halted, and the show eventually continued with a new lead actor. Yet for many viewers, every remaining episode carried the ghost of what had happened behind the scenes. Hexum's death prompted discussions about the hidden dangers of blank ammunition, which many assumed to be completely safe. His accident demonstrated that the explosive force of a blank cartridge could still be deadly at close range. Hollywood soon adopted stricter regulations regarding firearms on sets, though the painful lesson had come at a terrible cost. John Eric Hexum's story is remembered as one of the most tragic examples of how quickly a promising life can be extinguished. He had youth, talent, and the kind of screen presence producers dream of, yet all of it vanished in a single impulsive act. Do you recall when the news of his death first broke, and how shocking it felt to realize a Hollywood career could end so suddenly? Number 5. Paul Mantz. On the 8th of July 1965, veteran stunt pilot Paul Mantz met his death while filming the aviation epic The Flight of the Phoenix. Tasked with flying a specially constructed plane designed to look cobbled together for the story, Mantz attempted a difficult touch and go maneuver across the Arizona desert. As the aircraft bounced on landing, the fuselage split apart under the stress. The nose pitched forward violently, and Mantz was killed instantly in the crash. He was 62 years old. Paul Mantz had long been regarded as one of Hollywood's greatest pilots. Born in 1903, he built his career during the golden era of aviation films, when daring aerial stunts captivated audiences. After serving in the Army Air Corps, he transitioned into Hollywood and quickly became a legend for his ability to execute dangerous maneuvers with precision. His work appeared in countless productions, often without credit, but always with breathtaking impact. By the 1,930 seconds and 1,940 seconds, Mance had earned the nickname King of the Movie Pilots. He flew in films like For Whom the Bell Tolls, 12 O'Clock High, and Air Force. His skills extended beyond stunts. He became a technical advisor, ensuring that aerial sequences looked authentic. He was also Amelia Earhart's close friend and personal pilot, adding further mystique to his life story. Mance's career was marked not only by daring, but also by innovation. He pioneered techniques for capturing dynamic aerial shots, often flying in conditions that would have grounded less experienced pilots. Hollywood directors trusted him with sequences too dangerous for others, knowing his reputation for control and courage. The accident on the flight of the Phoenix underscored the extreme risks involved in blending cinema and aviation. The film itself revolved around survival after a plane crash, a cruel irony that mirrored Mance's own end. When the movie was released later that year, it carried an unspoken tribute to the pilot who had given his life for its realism. Paul Mance's death closed a chapter in Hollywood's history of fearless stunt flying. His legacy remains etched in the skies above classic films, a reminder of the peril faced by those who turned danger into spectacle for the silver screen. Number 6. Vic Morrow. On the 23rd of July 1982, the set of Twilight Zone, the movie became the scene of one of Hollywood's most infamous on-set disasters. During the filming of a Vietnam War sequence in California, Morrow carried 2 child actors through a mock battlefield. Explosions erupted around them as a helicopter hovered low to capture the chaos. A pyrotechnic blast damaged the helicopter's rotor, sending it out of control. The aircraft crashed directly onto Morrow and the children, killing all 3 instantly. The tragedy occurred just after midnight, shocking everyone present. Vic Morrow was born in 1,929 inches, the Bronx. He rose to prominence in the late 1,950 seconds with a gritty performance in Blackboard Jungle, which cast him as a rebellious teenager. His ability to bring intensity to troubled characters led to steady work in both film and television. By the 1,960 seconds, he became a familiar face to American households as Sergeant Saunders in the World War II series Combat, a role that defined his career and showcased his commanding presence. Though never a marquee star like some of his contemporaries, Morrow built a reputation as a dependable actor who brought weight and realism to his performances. He often played soldiers, villains, or authority figures, roles that highlighted his rugged demeanor and strong delivery. His work in both television dramas and films kept him active in Hollywood for decades, respected by peers and audiences alike. The fatal accident on Twilight Zone, the movie, sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. Investigations revealed multiple safety violations, and the ensuing legal battle became a landmark case for film production ethics. Director John Landis and several crew members were tried for manslaughter but ultimately acquitted. Though the controversy lingered, Hollywood was forced to confront the dangers of combining children, explosives, and stunts without adequate safeguards. Vic Morrow's death remains one of the darkest chapters in movie history. The incident not only ended the life of a seasoned actor, but also forever changed the way film crews approach safety on set. His legacy as a talented performer endures, overshadowed yet also immortalized by the tragedy that claimed him. Number 7. Martha Mansfield. On the 29th of November 1923, during the filming of The Warrens of Virginia in San Antonio, Texas, Martha Mansfield was seated in a parked car between takes. She wore a Civil War-era costume with a large, flowing dress made of flammable fabric. A cast member lit a match nearby, and in an instant, her dress caught fire. Flames engulfed her body before assistants and fellow actors could smother them with coats. Though she was rushed to a hospital, the burns were too severe. She died the following day at just 24 years old. Martha Mansfield was born in 1,899 inches, New York City. She began her career as a stage actress and model before transitioning to silent films. Her striking beauty and expressive eyes made her a natural fit for the medium, and she quickly rose in popularity during the early 1,920 seconds. She worked alongside major stars of the era and appeared in films such as Civilian Clothes and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, 1920, in which she played opposite John Barrymore. By the time she was cast in The Warrens of Virginia, Mansfield was seen as one of Hollywood's most promising young actresses. Industry insiders predicted a bright future for her, as she had the talent and presence to transition from supporting roles to leading lady status. She was on the cusp of wider recognition, balancing both stage and screen work with growing acclaim. Her death shocked Hollywood and highlighted the often overlooked dangers of early film production. Costumes of the era were frequently made of highly flammable materials, and sets lacked modern safety protocols. The fire that claimed her life became a grim reminder of the risks actors faced in pursuit of realism and spectacle. News of Mansfield's passing spread rapidly, with fans mourning the loss of a performer whose career had barely begun to blossom. Her funeral drew large crowds, a testament to her rising fame and the impact she had made in such a short span of time. Martha Mansfield's tragic end froze her in memory as a symbol of Hollywood's silent era, a star extinguished in her youth by a cruel accident that could have been prevented. Number 8. Leslie Harvey. On the 3rd of May 1972, Scottish-born guitarist Leslie Harvey was performing with his band Stone the Crows at a concert in Swansea, Wales. Rain had soaked the stage, leaving electrical equipment dangerously exposed. As Harvey reached for a microphone, he was electrocuted in front of a horrified audience. The shock knocked him to the ground, and attempts to revive him failed. He was declared dead at the age of 27. Harvey was born in Glasgow in 1944 and grew up surrounded by music. His older brother, Alex Harvey, would also become a successful musician, and together they were central figures in the Scottish rock scene. Leslie's talent on the guitar earned him early recognition, and by the late 1960 seconds, he was playing with various bands, including the blues group Cartoon and later the Checkmates. His versatility and distinctive playing style made him one of the most sought-after young guitarists in Britain. In 1969, Harvey co-founded Stone the Crows, a blues rock band that quickly gained critical acclaim. Known for their soulful sound and the powerhouse vocals of lead singer Maggie Bell, the group developed a loyal following. Harvey's guitar work was a defining element of the band's identity, blending raw emotion with technical skill. They toured extensively, opening for major acts and earning respect within the competitive rock circuit. The suddenness of his death cut short a career that many believed could have reached even greater heights. Stone the Crows were on the cusp of broader success, and Harvey was viewed as the band's musical backbone. His passing not only devastated his bandmates, but also left fans mourning the loss of a musician whose talent had barely been realized. The tragedy underscored the dangers of live performance in an era when electrical safety standards were far less stringent than today. In the wake of Harvey's death, conversations about stage safety grew louder, though many bands continued to face similar risks throughout the 1970 seconds. Leslie Harvey's legacy endures through the recordings of Stone the Crows and the memory of a gifted guitarist whose life was claimed at the very moment his artistry was electrifying audiences across Europe and beyond. Number 9. Mark Sandman. On the 3rd of July 1999, Mark Sandman collapsed on stage while performing with his band Morphine at the Giardini del Principe Festival in Palestrina, Italy. Midway through the set, he suddenly fell forward as his bass guitar slipped from his hands. The audience initially thought it was part of the act, but bandmates quickly realized the severity of the situation. He suffered a massive heart attack and was pronounced dead shortly after. He was 46 years old. Sandman was born in 1952 Inches, Massachusetts. His path to music was unconventional, marked by years of odd jobs and personal tragedies, including the deaths of 2 brothers. These experiences shaped the dark, introspective themes that later defined his songwriting. By the late 1980 seconds, he co-founded Morphine, a trio that rejected traditional rock instrumentation. With a 2-string slide bass, baritone saxophone, and drums, their minimalist sound stood apart from mainstream rock. Morphine achieved critical acclaim throughout the 1990 seconds. Albums like Good and Cure for Pain won devoted fans in both the United States and abroad. The band became known for their smoky, jazz-infused style and Sandman's deep, resonant voice, which carried both melancholy and strength. They toured internationally, earning recognition as one of the most innovative bands of the decade. Sandman himself was the driving creative force, praised for his lyrical honesty and distinctive stage presence. He embraced a philosophy of musical simplicity, believing fewer notes could deliver greater emotional power. His artistry was as much about what was left unsaid as what was played. The shock of his death reverberated through the music community. Fans and fellow musicians mourned a figure who had built something truly original. At a time when rock was saturated with formula, Morphine disbanded after his passing, leaving behind a catalog that continues to influence musicians exploring the intersection of rock, blues, and jazz. Mark Sandman's final moments, collapsing under the stage lights with bass in hand, became inseparable from his legend. His voice, his instrument, and his vision ended in an instant, but his songs endure, carrying the weight of both sorrow and brilliance that defined his too brief life. Number 10. Dick Shawn. On the 17th of April 1987, comedian and actor Dick Shawn was in the middle of a stand-up routine at the University of California, San Diego. He had just delivered a line about politicians when he suddenly collapsed on stage. Audience members laughed, assuming the fall was part of his performance, since Shawn was known for absurd, unpredictable humor. Minutes passed before concern replaced laughter. When people rushed to his side, it became clear he had suffered a fatal heart attack. He was 63 years old. Shawn had built a career defined by his eccentricity and boldness. Born in Buffalo, New York, in 1923, he pursued comedy with a unique style that made him stand apart in an era dominated by traditional setups and punchlines. His routines often blurred the line between performance and chaos, keeping audiences unsure of what to expect next. Hollywood embraced him not only for his comedy, but also for his acting. He became a familiar face in films and television during the 1,960 seconds and 1,970 seconds. His most famous role came in Mel Brooks's 1967 classic The Producers, where he played the flamboyant and unforgettable Lorenzo Street, Dubois, or LSD. He also appeared in popular shows like The Ed Sullivan Show and guest starred in sitcoms and variety programs that allowed his wild creativity to shine. By the 1,980 seconds, Shawn was considered a seasoned veteran of both stage and screen, admired for never compromising his oddball energy. His performances were unpredictable, fearless, and often pushed the boundaries of comedy. His sudden death in front of an audience was tragically fitting, blurring the line between laughter and sorrow in the most literal way possible. The incident has remained one of the most surreal and haunting moments in live entertainment. Fans and fellow comedians later reflected on the cruel irony of his final act. Shawn's collapse was at first mistaken for a punchline, only to reveal the fragility beneath the bravado of comedy. Do you remember the first time you heard about Dick Shawn's shocking final performance, and how audiences realized too late that the joke had turned into a tragedy? Number 11. Tiny Tim. On the 30th of November, 1996, Tiny Tim suffered a fatal heart attack while performing at a gala benefit in Minneapolis. He had just finished his signature song, Tiptoe Through the Tulips, when he collapsed on stage in front of the audience. Paramedics rushed to revive him, but he was pronounced dead shortly after, at the age of 64. Born Herbert Corey in New York City in 1932, Tiny Tim became one of America's most eccentric entertainers. With his long hair, falsetto voice, and ukulele in hand, he carved out a persona that was as unusual as it was captivating. His big break came in the late 1,960 seconds when he appeared on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, captivating audiences with his quirky charm and unexpected vocal style. His rendition of Tiptoe Through the Tulips, originally a 1,920 seconds hit, became a cultural phenomenon. It led to a recording contract, regular television appearances, and a level of fame few novelty acts ever achieved. At the height of his popularity, Tiny Tim married Miss Vicky on The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson in 1969. An event watched by millions and cemented as one of television's most memorable moments. Although his fame declined in the following decades, he never stopped performing. Tiny Tim embraced his role as a cult figure, continuing to tour, record, and appear at conventions and small venues across the country. His passion for music and performance never wavered, even as health issues began to plague him in his later years. The circumstances of his death reflected the unwavering dedication to his art. Despite warnings from doctors about his fragile health, he insisted on continuing to perform. That final night in Minneapolis, he gave his audience the performance they expected, ending his life in the spotlight. Tiny Tim's legacy remains a curious blend of humor, nostalgia, and genuine musical talent. He was a performer who lived entirely for his audience, embodying the unpredictable and often surreal nature of American pop culture in the late 20th century. His final collapse on stage stands as both a tragic and fitting conclusion to a life devoted to entertaining others. Number 12. Joseph Greenstein, the Mighty Atom. On the 8th of October 1977, Joseph Greenstein collapsed while performing one of his trademark strongman feats in New York. Known for bending iron bars, breaking chains with his chest, and biting through nails, he was in the midst of a public exhibition when his body suddenly gave out. Despite immediate medical attention, he was pronounced dead at the age of 84. Greenstein was born in Poland in 1893 and immigrated to the United States as a young man. Small and frail as a child, he had once been diagnosed with tuberculosis and given little chance to survive. Determined to prove otherwise, he trained his body with obsessive discipline, eventually transforming into one of the most remarkable strongmen of the 20th century. His feats of strength defied not only medical predictions, but also the limits of human endurance. By the 1,920 seconds and 1,930 seconds, Greenstein was touring America as the Mighty Atom, wowing audiences with his ability to bend horseshoes, twist steel bars, and pull vehicles with his hair. He became a sensation at fairs, circuses, and vaudeville stages, embodying the era's fascination with physical extremes. Unlike larger strongmen, his relatively modest stature made his performances even more astonishing, as crowds marveled at how such a small man could perform seemingly impossible tasks. His reputation extended beyond showmanship. During World War II, Greenstein reportedly trained soldiers in jiu-jitsu and promoted physical fitness as part of the war effort. He also became a symbol of resilience for Jewish immigrants, inspiring those who faced prejudice with his defiance of expectations. The end of his life was marked by the same determination that defined his career. Even in old age, he refused to retire from performing, continuing to appear before audiences with demonstrations of superhuman strength. His sudden collapse during a show was in many ways emblematic of a man who never left the stage. Joseph Greenstein's story remains an extraordinary example of human willpower. His life journey, from sickly child to legendary strongman, captured the imagination of audiences across America. His final moments under the lights sealed his legend as a performer who lived and died by the strength he worked so tirelessly to achieve. Number 13. Edith Webster. On the 24th of November, 1986, singer Edith Webster was performing at a concert in Maryland when she collapsed on stage during the finale of her act. She had just finished the song, "Please Don't Talk About Me When I'm Gone," a number she often used to close her shows. As the final notes faded, she fell to the floor before the stunned audience. At first, many thought it was part of the performance, but medical personnel quickly confirmed she had suffered a massive heart attack. She was 71 years old. Webster had spent most of her career performing in nightclubs, theaters, and local venues along the East Coast. Known for her warm contralto voice and heartfelt delivery, she built a reputation as a seasoned entertainer who could command a room with elegance and sincerity. Though she never reached the level of national stardom that many of her contemporaries achieved, she became beloved in her community and developed a loyal following. Her musical style was deeply rooted in the traditions of jazz and American standards. She specialized in songs from the Great American Songbook, breathing new life into classics with her rich voice and emotive phrasing. Audiences admired her for her consistency and her devotion to the craft of live performance, even when mainstream fame eluded her. The choice of "Please Don't Talk About Me When I'm Gone" as her final song lent an eerie poignancy to her passing. The lyrics, already bittersweet, became haunting in the moments after her collapse. Many who witnessed the event later recalled the chilling sense of irony that her last words, sung on stage, seemed almost prophetic. Webster's death underscored the intimacy of live performance, where the line between art and reality can blur in unforgettable ways. She lived for her audience, giving them everything until her very last breath. Though not a household name across the country, her story endures as one of the most haunting examples of an artist leaving the world in the same place she loved most on the stage, in the spotlight, and in the presence of music. These 13 performers met their final moments not in silence, but under the glare of lights and before the eyes of an audience. Their stories reveal both the glory and the fragility of life in entertainment, where a standing ovation can turn to shock in an instant. Hollywood remembers them not only for the way they died, but for the passion they carried to the very end. Do you recall any other haunting moments when a star's last act became their farewell? Share your thoughts and subscribe to Tragic Hollywood for more unforgettable stories.